Hey you guys, this is Pablo with Last Talk Gaming. I'm sure you've seen all of our tweets, our teasers, and a little something special coming for you all.
I'm Ron Martinez, founder of Core Esports, and I'm really excited to be working with Last Talk Gaming.
We're excited to be working with Core, excited for the future of Houston Smash scene, especially caffeinated on April 20th. But for now, make sure to watch the rest of the podcast with Santi.
All right. We're good. We're live. We're excited.
Live.
We're gonna do some mic checks, some mic check-in right now. Tim, say hello.
I can't believe I screwed up the name of that event on April 20th. But come out to Overly Caffeinated, April 20th. Come out to Caffeinated tomorrow.
And before we do a mic check with our guests, we want to thank everybody who's here. Please go ahead and give us a follow, tweet right now at Last Talk Gaming to add your questions to the list. We want to have a little AMA kind of thing at the end for Santi, our very wonderful guest. And I want Tim to introduce this man because he has done a lot for the Smash community, and he has done so much. So go ahead, Tim. Introduce our special guest today.
All right. So that means probably all 20 of these viewers come from his channel. But Santi
Let's go.
is a very established player in the Houston scene. Somebody that the first time I met him, I actually thought he was going to lose the Xeno Warrior, Xeno something, and a local Belmont player in bracket, and misinputted his score. But Santi's just a good guy that's there all the time, always at events, always vocal, always social, and overall a great representative of the Houston scene.
I appreciate that. I try. When I can show up, I'll do my best, and yeah, I just try to be honest and vocal with things that I think need to be said. So I appreciate you saying that.
Well, we welcome you, Santi. This podcast, it's every Wednesday, 7 p.m. We have a guest list full until probably the end of May, I want to say. We have so much things planned for this month already that we are so excited to share with everybody. And of course, Santi is such a big part of this, and he, like I said, he continues to just want to make sure that the Smash community keeps on growing, and it's a very, very positive community. So let's start off with just small introduction, Santi. Like, who are you? If for people that don't know you, who are you? What do you do in the Smash community? And why should they follow you on Twitter, of course?
Well, they definitely need to follow me on Twitter because it's sad how many followers I have. So definitely you need to follow me on Twitter. My tag is Santi. I started in the scene in 2005, 2006 in Melee. I was a Toon Link main in Brawl, which is probably where a lot of people know me, is from my Brawl days in 2008, 2009. Smash 4, I was in the San Antonio scene and moved to Houston 2015 and just try to be active in the community. I try to host Smash Fest every 6 weeks or so, just hang out, be chill, and really just try to make the community what it's all about, which is just friends hanging out and having a good time.
Yeah, definitely. Tim, go ahead, Tim.
Go ahead. What am I going ahead with?
I thought you were going to talk.
All right. First off, Houston Degenerates. Let's talk about that. I put it on the agenda.
Yeah.
I think it almost got, but we need to work on that. We need to make that an actual thing.
Dude, I'm so down for Houston Degenerates Smash Fest at my house, where we just bet on anything and everything, level 9 CPUs. I think my favorite thing to bet on is we get a bunch of Pokeballs in training mode, and we bet on which Pokemon's going to come out, and we bet accordingly. That's kind of how I got started in the scene, was just gambling on stupid stuff in Melee, and ultimately that's what brought me here.
Yeah, and I know Tim had a bit of a gambling phase himself. So I'm pretty sure he shares the same gambling, I guess, passion that you have or had. So
I still have it. You can't get it out of me. It's in my blood.
I don't think you can get it out of anybody once the blood bites. You can lose all the money in the world and it doesn't matter. I'm always down to.
Yeah, I'm always down to go broke.
Yeah. So Sandy, who do you main in Smash, and why do you main that particular character?
Well, I main Marth in Melee, and that was really just from the time. I mean, when I started in the scene in 2005, like Azen was big. Ken, of course, was just dominating. Mewtwo King played Marth, so Marth was kind of like the go-to character.
Mm-hmm.
Not as tech heavy as like Fox or Falco, so for me that was an attractive feature because I don't really have the tech skill like some of these kids have with the Spaceys, and ultimately that carried over. Marth in PM, I played Marth and Lucina in Ultimate, and it's just a character that I can feel like I can pick up and play with most of the Smash games.
So have you played Marth since before you played competitive, or is that something that happened after you picked up the game?
No, Marth was like a definitely like an easy casual player. I think like when I first played Melee with my friends before competitive, when we would just do like money matches, I was Marth, he was Sheik, and that's kind of like the driving. Like to go back when we had degenerate Smash Fest at my house when I was 15 years old, we would just play 1v1 money matches, $1 here, $5 here, and I played Marth, and ultimately, once I lost like $100 to a guy, I'm like, okay, this is too much. This is too much. I'm going online. I'm gonna watch YouTube videos. I'm gonna watch Azen. I'm gonna come back. But it actually took me a while to find Smash boards, which I think that's kind of where a lot of people start off is
Yeah.
going on Smash boards, seeing what your character can do. Dude, I fell for fake news on the internet all the time. I remember like before Smash boards, I would go online. It was like beat level 51 with Pichu, and you will unlock Raichu. And I remember thinking, oh man, it's game over, dude. Once I unlock Raichu, I'm gonna take all my friends' money. It's gonna be game over. He's not gonna know what to do. And I spent like 10 hours a Saturday night trying to beat Giga Bowser with Pichu.
Yeah.
And then when I finally did it and nothing happened, I was like, that was the biggest waste of my time.
You got
I'm going on Smash
bamboozled.
boards. Yeah, I was like, no more fake news. I'm going on Smash boards. I'm gonna learn how to get good. And dude, from there it's just smooth sailing, just working on my Marth that I was casual with and trying to make it
Yeah.
a lot cleaner.
Do you feel like sword characters are easy to pick up for casual players?
I think they can be. I think they can be. I definitely think Marth was easier for me to pick up as opposed to like Fox or Falco, especially in the meta where people were learning just how to abuse those characters
Right.
and just destroy them. So I definitely think if you got a good understanding of space and fundamentals, and Marth was a character where if you missed your L cancels, you could kind of get carried. So yeah,
Mhm.
I definitely think it's a good character to pick up for beginning players,
Even
especially in
even
Melee.
now in Ultimate.
Uh, I don't think you can go wrong with Lucina. I mean, she's
Right.
basically like Marth without having a sweet spot. Which, good God, if I could play Melee Marth without a sweet spot, I'd be the freaking happiest camper in the world.
Mhm.
So I think Lucina is definitely a good pickup, a starter character for people getting into the Ultimate scene for sure.
What do you think about the other sorties, like Crom and Roy specifically?
Oh, and Ganondorf.
Dude, Ganondorf is the truth. Dude, if you're going to get into the Smash scene, just play Ganondorf and have fun. That's what I would say. But no, they're all good. Crom, Roy. I would think Martha's probably the weakest right now out of all of them,
Mhm.
just because people are having trouble with those tippers and just some of the moves connecting not as smoothly as Lucina. Don't sleep on Roy and Crom.
Ramen.
Ramen Croy. Watch out for that DLC coming your way this summer.
Should we bet on when the DLC is dropping this in April or?
Yeah, put it on the Houston Degenerate. Put it on the Houston Degenerate timeline. We'll do a bet on DLC characters. We'll get a pot going.
All right, all right. Aside from sword characters, who do you think it's like? I guess the most strongest character in the game.
I think Pichu's strong. I think Pichu's real strong. I don't know if that's going to carry over as people get more accurate landing their moves, but right now where it is, she's hard to hit. She packs a punch.
Yeah.
Pretty good recovery. Pretty good at edge guarding. That definitely helps. That's a character that comes to mind. I think as people develop the meta, Inkling's going to get a little stronger, just because of the hurt box. Just the way the Inkling is really tough to hit when they're dashing and when they're spot dodging and things like that. So I think they're going to move up a little bit later.
What do you think
Okay.
about Peach and Daisy?
Dude, Daisy's the realest. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows Daisy's the realest. I think they're good. I look, and there's a lot of untapped potential with Peach and Daisy in terms of their combo strings and how they connect things. And the more hours that stack up in training mode for people, I think the scarier they're going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Daisy would have a much better Instagram. That's all I got.
No, I agree, 100%, 100%.
What about the PK boys? Where do you put the PK boys on the list?
I don't give them any thought. I really don't let any real estate in my mind go towards the PK boys. Ness and Lucas are about as dead as you can be to me, so I definitely don't give them a second of real estate in my mind.
I'm a Ness main. Heido, if you're in the chat, PK boys for life, dude. PK boys for life. Let's talk a little bit about your. I guess I know I was on your stream. And you were talking about how much you love your mom and what she did for all of you guys and how she drove you to like tournaments and stuff like that. Like, are there more stories there that you can tell us about, like, what she has done? I guess.
It's really cool how amazing my support system was growing up. I never felt like. Let me give you a little bit of a background. My brother's a star athlete.
Mm-hmm.
My sister does dance, gymnastics, and beauty pageants. And Santi's in his room playing Super Smash Brothers Melee for 10 hours without coming out of his room, right? So, in terms of the tier list of hobbies, you would think mine was at the bottom. But my parents never made me feel like I was wasting my time or, my hobbies were inferior. And I remember finally convincing my mom when I was 15, 2005. I was like, Mom, please take me to this tournament at Texas Tech. And it was like 3 hours away.
Yeah.
3 hours was the closest Melee tournament, and it took some convincing because she was going to have to leave work early. I was going to have to miss school, and she drove me to Tech and just talked to me about my characters that I play in Melee. If I was nervous, who did I want to fight, who did I want to avoid in bracket, and it was the fastest 0-2 in my life. I mean, I think I went there, I got 4-stock, like 3-stock, 4-stock, and I was 0-2. And about 20 minutes later, I came out back to the van. I was like, Mom, it's time to go home. And we drove the 3 hours back to San Angelo. And but I was hooked. And she drove me to a lot of tournaments over the next couple years.
That's awesome, man.
Yes, and I really feel bad for people now in the scene who really don't have that. And that's kind of something that I try not to discourage people from playing the game.
Yeah.
Because it means something to everyone, and not everyone's lucky enough to have parents that'll support you, especially now when back then 10 years ago there really wasn't an option to be a content creator, right? Or to make a living off winning weeklies and monthlies and things like that. There wasn't really that career path, and now there is, and people still don't have that support system. So that's really something that's sad to see, that I try to make sure not to discourage people on.
Yeah, I remember I think it was the Pokemon, I don't know if it was the 20th anniversary or the 25th, but there was this huge like Pokemon event happening at the Galleria, and I don't know why that particular day, my mom took my brother and I to Galleria to just like, I guess, buy or like hang out or something. And then we're walking around and we're like, what's that? And then it's like this huge Pokemon thing going on for their anniversary, and I was like, Mom, I need to go back home. I gotta get my DS, like my Game Boy. I gotta get my Game Boy. My mom was like, "Are you sure?" Like, I'm like, "Yes, I'm gonna win." I'm gonna win. Is what I tell her. And I remember losing actually so much because I lost to a guy with blue hair. I got to the semifinals. I lose to a guy with blue hair.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yes.
Okay.
I lose to a guy with blue hair. He threw an electrode and a ground down, and the electrode exploded and killed 2 of my Pokemon. And I was like, oh, that's game over right there. So
well, that's a better story than telling your mom you're going to win and going 0-2 after 20 minutes. That's a pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's an experience, like having that support, not just because it's like it's a game you play, it's your hobby, it's what you do, it's what you like doing. And I agree with you that no matter what, this game is for everybody, and we should be as inclusive as possible when it comes to letting others join you in playing Smash.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you on that, 100%.
So how do you think things would have been different if growing up we had the scene that these kids do nowadays? Guys like Ismon, they're 16, Velta, Wormy, Like, all these kids are so fucking talented, and they have a scene that actually supports them, or has the ecosystem to support a viable career for them.
Dude, it's huge. I mean, it really is. Like, I remember how excited I was and thinking, like, man, this could really be something special. And it was just like, we're playing in a garage for $10. You know what I mean? So, like, for these guys to have the the venues that they have, you have organizations, you have sponsorships. Good, I like dreamed of getting sponsored as a teenager. Like, that was something that was incredible. And yeah, I think it's amazing that they have that base, and I think it makes it easier for them to, chase their passion and continue it. I think it's great. I don't know how I would do it if I was a teenager now. I'd I'd be like begging mom not to let me go to school and just let me play Ultimate all day. So maybe it's a good thing.
So I come from a much different background than you guys. Like,
What do you mean?
I didn't play Pokemon, I didn't play Smash. Like, I come from an RTS and first person shooter background. So growing up, the highlight for me it was like 2000, like 5 and 6. Like, I told my mom every year I was gonna qualify for World Cyber Games playing Brood War.
That's funny.
The highlight was playing on stream versus in control in like 2006 or 2007, losing desperately, but being hyped that 5 people were watching this shitty ass 360p stream.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I'll
used
never
to
forget that.
I used to play a lot of MapleStory and would stream that, and then like I would just make content for it, and all of a sudden one video had like 3.3k views. I was like, what did I do? And then I went back to having like 200 300 views, but it's definitely something.
I mean, it's special. It's special. Like, you can't discount it for people. I mean, everyone has different experience. I mean, I kind of feel bad for people that they just want to bask in a win. They may have just beat a player that they never thought they could beat, and then people are like, "Yeah, shut up, dude. Come on, dude."
So let's talk a little bit about the tournaments here.
Okay.
You've gone. I assume you've traveled a lot to different tournaments. I don't really know your story in particular, but how would you compare TOs here in Houston to, I guess, TOs outside of Houston? Maybe you've gone to Dallas often or Austin. I don't know. So
It's been a while since I've been to Dallas. I did go to Dallas tournaments, but that was, geez, you're talking 10 years ago.
mm-hmm.
I think maybe MLG Dallas, that was I think it was in 2012. I can't remember. Was the last tournament I went to in Dallas. San Antonio, I would say for most of my Smash 4 career, when the game came out late 2014 until fall 2015, I was spending my time in San Antonio. That's where I lived. Yeah. And the TOs there, they're incredible. They're incredible. You have someone like Nike who's been in the scene over 10 years, just as long, if not longer than I have, from early Melee days, hosting throughout Brawl, hosting for Smash 4,
Mm-hmm.
and he's just someone who's built a reputation for himself, over the 10 years, impeccable resume, clean record, 100% trustworthy, very mature and supportive of the scene, very grassroots. And now you have Barrows taking over for the San Antonio scene for Ultimate, and he's kind of been under Nike's wing the whole 10 years.
Yeah.
They really it's really organic how it just came about, very grassroots. Houston, I would say it's a little bit more business oriented.
Mm-hmm.
You have TOs that also co-sponsor or co-manage an organization, which isn't a bad thing. It's just a different dynamic. Different dynamic. And the TOs are still experienced, but when you compare them to scenes like San Antonio, maybe a little bit on the younger side.
Right, and even way younger if you compare them to the scene in California, correct?
Yeah, West Coast, East Coast, those were kind of your origin for tournaments back in the day, and you just had an amazing East Coast West Coast rivalry for Melee,
Yeah.
and of course that's kind of like where it all starts.
What kind of effect do you think Houston's business savvy TOs have on the scene, either positively or?
Well, there's definitely some positives. When you can be sponsored by a different organization and go to their tournaments and get out there, you have some really strong streams for Houston. It's different. So there's definitely some positives in terms of the exposure. Uh, that does bring some negatives to it. You want to be careful of. I mean, anytime you mix a hobby and a business, you want to make sure that your conflicts of interest are clean. That was something that I felt really stupid of when I came into the San Antonio scene. Um, when I came back, I already knew Nike, right? And he was like, "Look, we're going to take a little percentage of the pot, and we're going to have a big pot at the end of the season." And I kind of have some trust issues, so I was like, you know what? Let me just kind of check, make sure the numbers check out, make sure the math is fine. And then after like 2 or 3 weeks, I went up to Nike. I was like, dude, there's more money in this pot at the end of the season than there should be. And he's like, well, yeah. Sometimes I round up the winnings and I pay out of my own pocket, or sometimes I refund someone who
Mm-hmm.
who has to leave early, and I still keep that money into the end of the season. And I remember after like 3 weeks thinking, wow, that was stupid of me. This guy has been grassroots. He's been here since day one. He cares about the community. Why did I even second guess him? And that's just kind of the dynamic you have from someone who's very grassroots. You can still have that on the business side. You can still have an organization who's very grassroots and who wants the community to succeed. But you do have to watch out for some cons if, for instance, you're a position of leadership and you do something that may conflict with what's best for the community as opposed to what's best for your organization. I think that's something we have to be careful of moving forward.
Yeah, I think that's a huge balance thing.
Yeah.
Like any organization needs to have balance in serving what their customer base, which would be the
Absolutely.
community,
Absolutely.
and serving themselves as a business. Like if the community is not taken care of, then the company has no rights being profitable.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, and
If you're
even
not
if you have
working
great intentions, even if you have great intentions, right? Like even if you're not trying to do something malicious, but it has the perception of, you know what, that wasn't probably best for the community. It might have been best for my event.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it has that perception, that still can be dangerous. So yeah, you're right on that, Tim. You got to balance it. It's a tough balance.
I want to talk a little bit about player development. Um, what do you think it's for example, when we talk about League of Legends, right? You for player development, you have the collegiate, you have the um, what is it, the academy, and then you have pro, right? I guess that would be a
Right.
path to getting to the pro level, pro scene,
Right.
correct? So what is something that you feel we should have in regards to Smash? Even though Nintendo, isn't really supporting any of this, which sucks, right? But
Right.
what is something that a community, right? A community build, I guess, circuit or development route. What is something like that you want to see?
No, I mean a circuit would be great, and I think it's doable. I think it's doable now than it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago. You had your MLG circuit, right? 10 or 12 years ago, that was big. But I think it still could be done at a grassroots level. I mean, you have TOs that can talk to each other from New York to LA in a split second.
Yeah.
And before you didn't really have that kind of communication. And you know, you have partners that we've worked with, that we've developed relationships with. I think it's very possible that you could do a circuit. But what it takes, and again, this is where you kind of have what's best for the community, what's best for the organization, and sometimes you don't want people to budge. I think it does take partnerships. I think it does have to. You do have to partner with people. You have to leverage each other, and ultimately use that to grow your business and grow the community. I think that's what it's going to take at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think from our announcement today, you can see that we agree with that.
I think that was great.
Partnering with Ram for a reason. Like he's
Yeah.
a great up and coming PO. We don't want to sponsor something or start something, an event, because Houston, like while it does, I think need events in certain geographical areas, it needs some focus on some core events that already exist as well. And so we saw that we love the choral events, we love what Ram's doing, and we want to give them a hand. We want to help them out.
Mm-hmm.
We want
Yeah.
to be involved in that more.
Yeah.
As for player development, what players in Houston, besides the obvious Trella and Razor, do you think would benefit the most from that? Like specific players?
Like a circuit event?
Yeah. What specific players in Houston do you think would develop fastest, or their development would benefit from?
Ultimately, it comes down to the drive. It comes down to the drive. You have some really, really strong crews in Houston, but they're also very open. So, for instance, if I had the drive to just kill it on a circuit, there's nothing stopping me from reaching out to some of these crews and just getting together every day and playing Smash. Like everyone in the Houston scene is very welcoming.
Mm-hmm.
So I really think it's open to whoever wants to improve the most. I think what you're seeing from Duo, what you're seeing from Bonrin and Deluxe, I mean, they have attendance like crazy. I mean, they're just going Duo. That guy is going to so many weeklies that, uh, if there was a circuit, even a local circuit, I wouldn't put it past him that he would have the best attendance. So ultimately, it comes down to who has the schedule and who has the drive. But those are a couple players that come to mind. And myself, I mean, when you talk about raw talent, and just someone who can just steal an event, I mean,
Of course.
I definitely have to be up there. You definitely have to put old man Santi up there.
What do you think about some of the scheduling conflicts that we've seen in the Houston scene? Be it locals or stuff like the Texas Showdown and mainline event.
It doesn't bother me. And I know that's not a popular opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I know some, but again, that's something that we have to do a good job of. We have to realize business is business. You have to be graceful with competition. If you want to be a big boss, you want to run a company, you're going to have people competing against you. And at the end of the day, you have to be graceful with that competition and understand, well, they're running a business just like I am.
Yeah.
In terms of weekly events, I know this is a popular topic. I don't think that we have too many weekly events. I really don't. And I don't have a problem if anyone in any part of town wants to open up a weekly at a venue. That's just something I've never been able to fully grasp. I mean, we had five sanctioned events last week, right? We did have a lot of events.
Correct.
But do you know how many unique players we had?
Not enough. Not nearly enough.
We had 164 unique entrants in 5 sanctioned tournaments last week. I don't think that if we had some centralized events, 1 or 2, I don't think we would be able to pop 160 consistently. Maybe that's just me being pessimistic, but I just think we don't have first of all, we don't have the venue space. Second of all, I don't think we can have someone who could put a killer event that would get those numbers.
I think the reason why we don't have venue events is because of venues are not seeing an organized tournament, right? So
yeah.
So it comes to organization. It comes to like how you as a TO run things, how you as a TO present yourself too, because it's not just like, oh, I do this, I do that. No, it's also like you have to talk to venues in a way that they understand, which is numbers, and you have to talk to them also in a respectful manner.
You bring up a good point, Pablo, because that is something that if you wanted to get me on the side of let's just have 1 or 2 centralized, focused premier weeklies, if there was a venue that we couldn't afford because of attendance being separated, but we could afford it if we united and joined together, then I could definitely see it. And you're right. It comes down to, first of all, we got to present a good case. We got to show, hey, we can take care of bathrooms. Hey, we're not going to destroy your property. And look, we work together. We're a good community, and we're going to bring in 150 to 200 people every week. Yeah. I think if you bring that proposal, you would have a good shot.
I think I've talked about this on every podcast, and every single time I've had a conversation with anybody about the Houston scene. But geographically, Houston's huge, and population center wise, like there are so many people in the city.
Yeah.
There's no reason we should have as low of numbers as we do. I think if we had events that catered to the suburban population centers, be it Katy, nobody's going to drive from Katy to SFC. The most dedicated players will, but the numbers don't come from the guys that get top 8 every time. The numbers come from those guys that are going 0-2, winning maybe 2 games, winning 3 games. Those guys that are making small runs are the guys that boost your numbers, not the guys that are sweeping the tournaments.
Yeah. No, you bring up a good point. That's where your main buck is, and that's where your numbers are going to come from. But at the end of the day, I also just think Houston just doesn't have the market right now. I mean, it's not just a Smash problem. I mean, you have organizations, you have business organizations that struggle to put on a good event, a big event in Houston. professional groups. Um, it's a Houston market thing with just the terms of how spread out it is, and it's an expensive city. It's an
Hmm.
expensive city. Honestly, if I was starting an arena for an esports organization, I don't think it's crazy that you had one open in Arlington in terms of what the cost is compared to Houston. I think it's just a tough market. I hope it happens, but until we're there, I'm totally fine. Where if anyone wants to open an event anywhere, let it be. Let
Right,
it be.
right.
So I love that you brought up Arlington because I'm up there quite a bit for family stuff.
Yeah.
The Dallas Fort Worth area, you can be 30 miles away and you can drive to somewhere and it not take 2 hours. In Houston, I live near the Woodlands. For me to go to Coral Sword takes nearly an hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like less, it's less than 20 miles and it takes an hour to get there.
Yeah.
It's such a huge downside just geographically to Houston.
And that's nothing the Smash scene can fix. I mean, that's infrastructure. That's just the market. That's just how. That's the kind of city we live in. And you know, that's why I try not to make a big fuss about the weeklies. There's a lot of pros. I mean, I'm sure you guys will probably have people on that are TOs that will talk about it more than I will. But there's a lot of pros to having the events segmented the way that they are and broken up that way.
Yeah. I mean, I think that healthy competition is needed in order for all events to grow. Um, I, in the past, didn't have not had a problem with saying, "Oh, we need more weeklies." We need more events going on.
Right.
I haven't had a problem with that because I think it's better for the entire community to have all of that, and more. At least for now, because there is not an established, right, not an established organization that says like that is uniting everybody, that is talking to every single TO, that is discussing
Right.
like the the pros and cons of opening up a weekly and how it's going to affect the area. So if there was someone, a group of people like that, then that would be, extremely helpful for everybody, especially if conversations are going in a positive and meaningful way that it ends up helping the community.
I sure hope so. I sure hope so. Um, we'll see. I just think there's a lot of question marks that have to be addressed first before we get to that point.
Yeah.
So like that's why in the meantime, if someone's open a weekly insurance, who am I to say, oh, that's too many? We need to have one event. We need to have one organization. I'm like, well, let me just wait till we have all those answers before I bash a weekly coming up in Sugar Land.
Yeah. What do you think of venues having like a viewing area? Like,
I love it. I love it.
you agree? Okay.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I think it's something that's missing. People don't watch. I think it's kind of like getting caught into individualism and your own clout, where if you're out, you don't care.
right.
But back in the day, you would watch the rest of the tournament. You would watch until your last crewmate was done with bracket,
Right.
and you would have crowds kind of congregate. I love the viewing areas. I think it's something that's missing from current scene.
Okay. I think
What do you think
that's
about online viewership? Because our weeklies struggle in that. What do you think they're missing?
From online viewership,
Right. When you get
uh,
outside of out of town people, because when we had Elegant, we had pretty good views, but a
yeah,
typical SFC does not get anywhere near good viewership.
yeah, and that's not anything to say about SFC because they put out a really great product. They really
They
do.
do. They have the cleanest overlays. They have great production value.
Absolutely, absolutely. Ultimately, I think I take about 99% of the blame. I mean, old man Santi brings the numbers, and I bring the followers. I bring the Banjo Brotherhood. So we definitely just need to have more old man Santi. If we could clone me 1,000 times and have me run bracket, run stream, run the tournament, yeah, then we get those viewers.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, just like you said, Elegant brings the numbers. we I'm really happy with where Houston's going for Prime Saga. How many people were going? We need to get on the map. We need to have exposure. Um, we need to draw those, to the stream. Top players tweeting the stream. Top players talking about where they're going to
Mm-hmm.
play. and you can't force that. It just has to happen that way. And if it does, then it does. If it doesn't, well, so be it. But ultimately, that's what it's going to come down to: is you're going to have Trella make some noise at Prime Saga. You're going to have a lot of Houston people make some upsets and get Twitter followers, and just coming out and advertising more is what it's going to take. It's not a product issue. Our streams are really good.
I'm ready for Zaddy's Yoshi to take some games off some names.
Oh yeah, he is. I mean, what is it? We don't have anybody. We don't have anyone seeded top 32 that's going, even Trella. So there's going to be some upsets, and then you're going to see it on the threads, like biggest upsets. You're going to have some Houston boys up there and some Dallas people too.
So who from Dallas is going? Are you up to date on that? Because
I believe Karna will be going. You'll also have Drago from Austin. Those are the two that come off the top of my head. I can pull up some more for you. But yeah, we're going to take some names. They're calling it Houston Saga because we have so many people going. Who knows? Maybe I'll steal the spot last minute. Don't sleep.
Well, we do hope to see you there, Santi.
Yeah, not going to happen, Pablo. Not going to happen. I appreciate the love. Dude, I haven't... You know when the last time I traveled, like took a plane? Guess what the last time I took a plane to go to a Smash tournament was?
1969.
Man, that's a good guess. That's a good guess.
Close.
1969, yeah, I was in Washington, D.C. there, just kind of living the life, so I wasn't at any Smash tournaments. 2008, 2009, early 2009 was the last time I took a plane ride to a Smash tournament. Yeah.
Well, you can always fly to Dallas.
Yeah, I would do that. I honestly would.
You can always fly to Dallas.
How do you think organizations can help players being more marketable? Do you think that's something organizations...
Well, you need a marketing guy. Like you can't put everything on the CEO of your organization, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think Ram is. I mean, he's the best at marketing and advertising his events in terms of just how much stuff he puts out and how he just gets people from different parts of town. So if you were looking at picking someone's brain, he's a good one to pick. But ultimately, like you can't get sponsored and just expect your boss to be your marketing guy, to help you improve, to help you do everything. A lot of it comes down to the player and just learning from others and asking the right people.
Yeah, I think our team has a lot of people with marketing experience. I think LSG is something that
I'm impressed.
I feel like a lot of TOs should definitely come to us and talk to us and just sit down and talk about their marketing, their monetization, like everything, because we want to understand what are some of their struggles too, what are some of the issues, because not every TO is going to have the same issue.
No, you're absolutely right. But you did say you're going to spend the next few weeks helping me revamp my marketing for coming on the podcast. And so I would hope you guys are going to be busy. You guys are going to be busy helping the old man Santi stream. And
that's our next scheduled Instagram post. So we do Instagram post at 11 and 4. We got one for you. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a project when it comes to marketing and advertising. I'll say that.
Yeah. Let's take some questions from the chat.
Shoot.
The chat's been very, very busy saying Santi
chat.
and banjos and spamming everything. So
I love it. I love it. Keep it up, boys.
Let's take some questions. Any question that you want to ask Santi, please just write it down.
Don't say anything.
We're gonna start with Gary's.
Let's see. Yeah.
Gary's fan club. So if Kirby sucked you in, what power would Kirby get?
Oh,
gray hair.
Gray hair.
A solid 401k.
Hardy account.
All right, let's see. What is your most embarrassing story? Smash related.
Yeah,
most embarrassing
story.
Yes.
Shoot, that's a good one. Ooh, that's a good one. My most embarrassing story, Smash related. I will say this. This is embarrassing now when I look back on it.
Uh-huh.
So I was young into my Smashboards career. I probably had an account for 3 years at the time, and I posted a combo video to, show everyone your combo video, show everyone your skills. And I had the Toon Link Army go and comment, and I would just be like, "Oh, thanks guys, appreciate the love and the support." And I had a very famous Smash player comment that they enjoyed the video and thought I had some sweet skills.
Mm-hmm.
And I completely ignored their comment because I had no idea who they were. And their name on Smashboards is Kevin Nanny, which anyone who plays Melee knows that that's PPMD. So I had PPMD, one of the most lovable, most famous Smash guys, comment on my Smashboards thread, and he didn't even play Brawl that much. He's like, "Dude, love your Toon Link, you got some skills," and I completely just ignored it and kept talking to all my little fanboys. And now I look back, like, why did I not talk to PPMD when I had the opportunity? And
You could have been famous. You could have been more famous.
I could have had a friend. I could have had a Melee God as one of my closest allies and friends, and I completely ignored him. And yeah, I regret it.
Wow.
So, are we gonna test whether or not Mewtwo King remembers you when he comes?
Jason, yeah, Jason will know. Jason will know. I should have sent you guys all the pictures. Mewtwo King will. The reason Mewtwo King will remember me is because my partner Dojo, he'll never forget, and he'll remember that little Toon Link kid hanging around. Yeah, me and Jason, I haven't seen him in a long time, but yeah, he's definitely someone that I have a lot of respect for.
What do you think of this old versus new kind of theme going on here in Houston? This new Smash Ultimate versus all Smash.
Oh man, look, I'm gonna bash some of us older gens in the scene real quick. We're so quick to shoot down newer players for asking questions and having certain thoughts that we may disagree with. But I'm going to bash us old folks. We got to be used to dealing with new people coming into the scene. I don't understand how we're so bad at it. Like when we went from Melee to Brawl, we had to deal with new people coming into the scene, asking silly questions, maybe having not the most informed opinions. From Brawl to Smash 4, you had it. From Smash 4 to Ultimate, have it.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of embarrassing that we have we should have, let me rephrase. We should have older and more mature people in the scene.
Yes, thank you.
You have people that's like, dude, we've been in the scene for how long? We've seen 4 or 5 different Smash iterations. We should be used to this by now. Can we tone it down a little bit? I think it could be really silly. I think it'd be really silly. And honestly, we need to respect the newer scene. I'm a big believer that the scenes now are better than the scenes that we had 10 years ago. Yeah. And I think sometimes we put ourselves on a pedestal. Like I know for me, I had fans all over the country 10 years ago, but the scene was also small. Our national tournaments had like 200 people, 250 people. So big whoop. We weren't as skilled as we are now, and we need to have a little bit more respect for the newer scene and these new up and coming players.
So Zyro had some really, really bad questions, but I think his first question was solid.
Give me the good ones.
How do you think? I'm not going to ask about your ex-girlfriend,
right, sounds
but we'll ask. What effect has competitive Smash had on your life outside?
It's taught me how to deal with different people from all walks of life. When I came into the Melee scene, it wasn't like it is now. I mean, you had people that were really kind of, I don't want to say outcast, but they're on the, they had their own hobby that were kind of on the fringe. What you would consider people with, neck beards and bad hygiene. That was the community 13 years ago. And I had never dealt with people like that. So learning how you can have something in common with someone, even if you think that you come from, different backgrounds, that's taught me a lot. It's helped me be better on social media. There's so many times it can be so easy to fall into the trap of getting combative or, having a reaction. Has got to be way more patient and close to the the trigger before I pull it.
We're
But
so lucky to not have had Twitter when we were in high school.
holy shit, yes. Oh my god, dear God, you just gave me a heart attack. I don't even mention stuff like that.
Like every time I see a young kid say something stupid, I'm like, wow, he's a fucking idiot. And then I remember 10 years ago, 20, 15 years ago.
You know what? And you know what's crazy is people talk about how soft newer kids are and newer generation. Back in my day, it wasn't possible to get roasted and get seen by 100,000 people. So when people talk about like how soft these kids are, I'm like, dude, we got bullied and like 3 people heard about it. You have no idea what it's like. You go trending on Twitter and you have like 50,000 retweets of everyone seeing you like show your butt crack at a Smash tournament. Like, dude, it's kind of crazy. And I think like newer kids, they're gonna learn as they get older. Like, man, I have thicker skin than people give me credit for, and I deal with it. So, yeah. Snorlax. Who's my spirit animal? There's a boy Snorlax right there.
I'm a miserable failure of life, and right now it's only Spotify, but it'll be Google Play and Apple iTunes very.
Oh, whoops, I'm muted. Oh, snap, I'm muted. Okay, sorry, I muted for like 2 seconds. And I forgot to unmute. Okay.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah.
I hope I didn't give Tim too much editing work where he's gonna have to go in and cut my whiskey glass. Going in and out and me sipping on my drink. I hope I didn't give him too much work there, but
Don't worry, I don't even bother editing the video. The video is just going to go up to YouTube about 5.
Yeah.
quick shout outs. Can I do a quick shout
Yeah,
out?
please throw socials and do your shout outs as well.
Banjo Brotherhood. Follow us on Twitter at Elder Santi and follow us on Twitch at Old Man Santi. But let me give a shout out to you guys. I really don't want to plug my stuff too much. I think what you guys are doing here is a really good thing. I think this is the medium
Thank
that you need to do it in. I don't think you can solve a lot of our issues through Facebook comment threads. I think having discussions like this, I think having people sit down and talk about where they're coming from and, disagreeing in a respectful way, I think it's healthy for the scene. So I really think this is something that we're missing. I like what you guys are doing, and I hope you guys keep it up.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. Anybody else you want to shout out, though?
Shout out to my parents. Shout out to Mama.
Yeah.
My mom, she's the truth. Shout out to Hazy Daisy. Shout out to Mr. Fantastic, 654, the legend. Zachy the Grappler, F Sharp 89, all the Banjo boys. You guys know how we do it. I appreciate you guys. Much love.
I'll give a shout out to Rosen. Shout out Rosen.
I'll give a shout out to Rosen too.
Thank you, Rosen. Shout out to Rosen as well. Again, thank you so much, Santi, for your time. We appreciate
Anytime.
it so much. We're probably gonna come and talk to you at some point just to have a chat, just to hang out, because we love all the input that we possibly can get from people who are listening to us, people who are watching us, people who have been on our podcast. So we appreciate you. Everyone who's listening, who's here, we have this podcast every Wednesday, 7 p.m. It's usually an hour and 5 minutes. For all of our information, you can check our social, which is down over there. You can follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram. We will be making a Twitch that is only, we'll have this particular podcast in it. You can check our website. You can Gmail any questions, information that you possibly have about Smash, about events. If you are having an event and you want us to attend, we will be happy to do so. We can send out different members of our group, of our team, to check it out, take pictures, make a little video probably. And again, we appreciate your support. So check out our social medias. Tim, anything else? Anything that maybe something that we need to mention before we go, Tim.
All right, so I got a lot of stuff. I'm going to get to that in a minute. We're going to get to what you're hitting at in just a little bit. First, Santi, because I can't pronounce your name properly.
It's all good.
We're going to get to a lot of the shit that was in the Google Doc eventually. I don't know if it's going to be a YouTube video. I don't know if we're going to have you on again, but there's a lot of stuff that I want to sit down and talk to you about that I knew we weren't going to have time for.
Yeah.
But there's so much that going on in your head that a lot of people don't understand. I don't know if you even understand sometimes, but want to sit down with you, have more conversations in the future.
Dude, I'm all about it.
Second, tune in to Whiskey Wednesday after this. I know you're all going to anyways because you're all from his channel.
Yeah.
But that one person, this is you, Hyro, that one person that's in the chat that's actually from my channel, go over, give Santi a follow, check out Whiskey Wednesdays.
I appreciate that. Yeah, we're going to get lit with Whiskey Wednesdays after this, boys. Be ready. Be ready.
I'll be in the chat for sure.
Yes.
Next, follow me on Twitter at moo_SSB because I will do anything for Twitter follow. And last, next week we'll have Banjo on the podcast, and it's going to be a lot better production value than anything you've seen from LSG before.
Mm-hmm.
We'll actually be in a studio setting, and we'll all be in person, so we don't have to worry about my dogs barking. Hopefully Pablo's mic will work the whole time.
Yes.
It's going to be an adventure, and just please tune in.
I promise it will be amazing. So we're excited to have Banjo, and we look forward to having you all there, to watch us as well. So again, thank you, and I think we're gonna sign off. So bye.
All right, y'all have a good one. Appreciate you having me.
Bye.